And here we are live again on a Thursday morning, coming to you from the Cyber-Recon fake server room. You can tell it's fake because when I hold up my New York cup of illy coffee, you can see right through it to the server room in the background because the green in the coffee cup does let that through. So, welcome to your Thursday morning edition of Cup of Cyber. Today we're going to finish up our Security Plus domain subtopic 1.3. We're going to finish up wrapping up talking about social engineering, and the last topic of this subdomain is talking about the use of social engineering and using open source intelligence gathering. So after the brief intro, we'll get back and we'll talk a little bit about open source intelligence gathering. It is a bit of a rainy morning out here in Virginia, so the warm coffee is well received. Today is National Name Yourself Day, so if you want to give yourself a new name, today is the day to do it. Give yourself a cool name like Hugo Montoya or something like that. But let's get into the topic today. So we're in domain 1 still, threats, attacks, vulnerabilities, threat actor attributes, and now we're talking about open source intelligence or open source intelligence gathering. And why would we do this? Really, the reason the social engineer does open source intelligence gathering is so they can do a technique called pretexting. And in pretexting, the social engineer builds a profile or a false image, a doppelganger maybe even, of a person that maybe is within the organization or surely knows a lot about the organization. So the social engineer will use different social engineering techniques to make themselves appear to be useful or friendly or even part of the organization to the person that they're targeting. And this is really effective if we're talking about something like whaling or spearfishing, where we're going after a specific group of people or a specific person. In either of those cases, we're really going for it. We see it a little bit in just general fishing. We definitely see it in those, in whaling and spearfishing. We see it there, and in intense social engineering, where really the social engineers really trying to get close up and personal to the person that they're trying to fool. We use a lot of this pretexting, a lot of this open source intelligence gathering, right? So, according to Wikipedia, open source intelligence, or OSINT, is data collected from publicly available sources to be used in an intelligence context, right? So that's the Wikipedia definition. So really, we're going to gather as much information about our target organization as we can. So we want to find out, where they're located, where their offices are at, who the people are in the organization. Who's the CEO, who's the CIO, who's the CSO, where's their help desk located at. Help desk is going to be a really key part of social engineering, getting folks in the help desk and getting folks either names or actually getting contacts in human resources. So a lot of times we'll see, based on past experiences, the C-level folks, the CEOs, the CSOs, the CIOs, those kind of COOs, the chief of something, chief information, chief executive officer, those folks, a lot of times when they look back at the breach information, they'll find that the social engineer that contacted them used information claiming they were someone from human resources. That was a big ploy that was used to get the C-level folks. A lot of times when we're going to maybe spearfish or fish people on a help desk, we'll use the names of executives or senior level people in the organization. So it's important to know information about the target organization so we can conduct a social engineering attack, right? So that's important. So where do we find this information? So internet searches are great. Google, you can go out to Google, you can look up your target, find out where they're at, maybe even get maps of the different locations. Whois will find you information about the website, where it's registered, who it's registered to. Obviously, social media is going to be a treasure trove of information. So if you go into Facebook and track down folks, usually that's the second part of it. Usually, if you go to LinkedIn, you can look up the organization and it'll list people that are associated with that organization. And then you can go a step further and go into Facebook and do a little more research on those. Um, Job search boards are great. Monster, Indeed, Glassdoor. You see a little note next to that one because we'll come back, circle back around, and ZipRecruiter. If the organizations list who they are in the job postings, and a lot of times this has become less favorable recently, but you'll see some people will still post the organization that's posting the job. So if you see a lot of people that are a lot of organizations that are posting for maybe Exchange administrators, Microsoft Exchange administrators, email administrators, um, it's an assumption that they've got Exchange mail servers, and that they probably are short-staffed on the mail servers. So maybe if you're pretexting, you're building your case around calling the help desk and getting someone to reset your password. You can say, "Man, you're on the Exchange team, and we're under strength. We're really behind on a lot of things. If I don't get my password reset, I'm going to really be in trouble." That pretexting is all about building a good case that the target, the person being socially engineered, is going to believe. Right? I put an asterisk next to Glassdoor because Glassdoor is more than just job search information. Glassdoor will tell you the good things and the bad things about an organization. So maybe you can learn that there's a person, maybe the director of marketing is a terrible person, and there's a lot of notes about that person on Glassdoor. The director of marketing maybe even list their person's name. Um, if you're pretexting, you're calling in, you can say, "I work in the marketing department, and you know how George Smith is. He's terrible. You heard about what he did to so and so." You can find a lot of information about the the dirty underside of an organization on Glassdoor, those skeletons in the closet. A lot of times people aren't afraid to post them on Glassdoor. So if you look at Glassdoor, there's going to be a lot of information. You can also see some good information about an organization, the good things they're doing. So it builds this character that the social engineer is building. You'll know about where the organization's located. You'll know about, maybe even the weather the day of your attack. If you're talking about, maybe you're in one location and the target is thousands of miles away, maybe you're going to check where the location's at, what the weather's like that day, so you can build your story. Oh, this rain is killing me in Virginia. Maybe I'm in Russia somewhere, right? So it builds the story. That's why we're using these open source intelligence. We're not doing anything. We're not penetrating the target's network. We're not hacking them. We're not doing anything really illegal. We're building a profile. Once we do go into the social engineering, obviously that's crossing the line, right? But this building the profile, this is all legal things. Like we can all search for Facebook. That's all legal. We can all look on Monster and Indeed. That's all legal. We can all look on ZipRecruiter. So that's what the bad guy, the social engineer, is going to do. They're going to use these open source resources to build their fake profile. Photo research. If there's photos on any of these social media sites, on any of the websites, look at the photo, see if there's geotag location or geolocation information. See if you can identify anything in the background, right? You can build, again, we're building this case, we're building a fake character that we're going to use for our social engineering exploit. Technical resources, we can go look at the DNS records. We can go look at the domain name services record and see what all servers they have listed as far as DNS. We're going to probably see a lot of the things that are in their DMZ, their mail servers, some of their web servers, what all's there, and then we're going to see. We're just building our case, and depending on where you're at. If you're close and you can drive by and just get wireless network information. I'm not saying breaking into their wireless network, but if you happen to drive by and you just pick up the IPs, or not the IPs, but the SSIDs, the service site identifier, the wireless network names, that may help you. And then websites. There's websites like the Securities and Exchange Commission, Dun and Bradstreet, LexisNexis. These will, again, give you more and more information about the target organization you're going for. That's all manual. We can do all this stuff manually. We can just get a notebook, or we can get a Word document up, and we can, start looking. We can just, look at the Acme Corporation and start looking through the information that's available. There are some tools. There's a ton of tools available, and these automate the process. So normally in these tools, and some of them are pay tools and some of them are open source free tools, normally you just drop the information into the search bar, the Acme Corporation, and you hit go, and it goes out and it does a bunch of these searches on your behalf. So it's going to go look at Facebook. It's going to go look at Google. It's going to go look to see if it can find any email addresses, at acme.com. So Epic Privacy Browser, Maltego, ReconDog, OSR, Open Source Research Framework, Spiderfoot. There are a ton of these open source tools. Lee Baird, if you're using something like the Kali distro, the Kali Linux distro, Lee Baird has a tool called the Lee Baird tool on there that you can just drop a name in there, and it will go out and it'll search a lot of these open source resources, and it'll bring it all back and present it to you in a nice clean report. So there are a ton of places you can go to get information. The thing to know for the exam, is this open source intelligence is used to build a profile to pretext when we're doing social engineering, right? That's why we do it. Know that it's information that's collected from publicly, that's important, publicly available sources to build an intelligence context. In this way, we're building the intelligence context we're building is our social engineering, doppelganger, the person we're building to be used in the social engineering attack, right? So that's the big thing. That's what open source intelligence is all about. That's why we talk about it in Secuirty Plus. It's very closely tied to our social engineering, which social engineering is part of the threat actor and threat actor attributes. So hopefully this helps you. This closes out 1.3. So we've talked about types of actors, we've talked about attributes of actors, and now we're talking about the use of open source intelligence. That's all that's in 1.3. If you looked at all three of those, you should be good to go. You should know what's going on. As always, Jim, I'm here with Cyber-Recon. Love for you to do the things we always ask on YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when new content comes out. And comment below. I got a comment from Aurora. Hey, could you put all of these April classes into a playlist so I can just watch them front to back? Yes, we're going to do that today. Today we'll get that out there. We'll build a special April Secuirty Plus playlist, and it will play from the first part of 1.2 or 1.1. Wouldn't make sense to start in 1.2. 1.1 all the way through April. It'll be a continuous playlist, and we'll throw some of the end cards in so you can link to the very next one. So we'll get that done today. We'll get it started. We'll get it done. And thank you, Aurora, for the comments. I love to see those. Even the comments about what day it is. They help us. Some people don't like that. You only see those on Cup of Cyber because this is the morning show, and I've got to do something to get me up and going in the morning. So I like what day it is, but tell me, maybe you don't like it. So anyways, Jim and I look forward to seeing you next time.